Hi, this is the Mitchell, Loggins, Cooper group. We're talking about Susan Baum's talent-centered model for twice exceptional students. Now these students are gifted but challenged with dyslexia, ADHD, and the like. They have learning disabilities, but they're gifted. Talent development is the driving force behind this model. The focus is on their talent. The rationale for this talent-centered model is that twice exceptional students should be defined by what they can do, not by what they can't do. A student's disability interferes with their ability to succeed in a regular classroom. And many positive behaviors, gifts, talents, they're repressed when students are placed in classes where they are defined by their weaknesses. The simpler task and slower pace of remedial classes rarely stimulate a gifted child. Focusing on student weaknesses without any attention to the talents may inadvertently stunt their intellectual growth. Baum's model is a bit like our solar system. Keep in mind, this is a mindset, not a formula. At the center of her model is talent development, and several factors revolve all around the talent development. Let's look at each. When an individual educational program addresses the full range of these elements, the greater the probability of success. One sphere revolving around talent development is target remediation. Define students by what they can do, is what Baum would say. Administrators and teachers should constantly look for signs of interest and talents. Modifications and remediations come from this. The focus on talent and interest serves as an impetus for students to become self-regulating, kind of taking the back door toward remediation. And you can see the quote here by Hallowell about how a person, knowing that a person builds a happy and successful life not on remediating weaknesses, but on developing strengths. Physical environment is another factor. The hindrances to twice exceptional students, my bad, not students, but twice exceptional students, are environmental conditions of the classroom, the amount of space in the classroom, and the number of students in the classroom, and even the teacher's pacing and quantity of work. Usually, whole class teaching should be at a minimum for twice exceptional students. Techniques like interest grouping or pair share or office space may be effective. Office space is where students can collect their thoughts and focus on the task. And you can see this guy right here kind of off by himself, and he's got earbuds in. ADHD kids often focus better with music. Dyslexic or Asperger's students may often need to draw before they write, and this has appeared to be a pretty good idea at times. Emotional support is another thing around talent development. Studies show that gifted students with learning disabilities have more extensive feelings of failure and deep frustrations over what they can and cannot be. They need counseling. Emphasis on talent is a creative outlet. It creates a learning environment where they can succeed and not see school as a place where they fail. Look at differentiating instruction. This model requires that differentiated instruction be geared toward the student's gifts. A learning disabled gifted artist was allowed to make this drawing right here, in place of writing a 5-paragraph essay on whether the book or movie of Angela's Ashes were more effective. And you can see that the scales tip toward the book instead of the movie. And all around here, there are aspects as to why the book was more powerful than the movie. Your imaginations go wild, and some items from the story itself, a light bulb, a teddy bear, whiskey, and so on. Though this is an accommodation that did not use this, accommodations for twice exceptional students frequently involve technology. And to the final sphere, challenging curriculum. Ways to heighten and challenge the curriculum should include more than just tweaking what classes are taken. It can include summer talent camps and development, mentorships and internships, competitions, contests in particular talents, and extracurricular activities like chess club and things having to do with music, special clubs, and teams. Finding real-world opportunities and real-world audiences appear to make a lot of difference. It is important that a school sell out to this talent-centered model. Mere moments at the end of a class of talent development isn't near as effective as the full model. So, how effective is the talent-centered model? Studies in 1991, 2000, 2002, and in 2004 have shown dramatic growth in twice exceptional students' self-regulations, perceptions of ability, and academic achievement when involved in opportunities totally focusing on their strengths and talents.
So, Roy, we've got a few articles that we're going to take a look at today, and the first one is by Judy Willis, a nationally known MD, and her article is entitled Twice Exceptional Students, Exceptional Challenges.
So what does Judy Willis say about twice exceptional students?
Well, she says, Roy, there's about 3 million children affected in America today, and that's about 5 to 20% of the gifted population.
I notice you have a picture of the brain up there. What does that have to do with twice exceptional students?
Yeah, when we get stress involved, particularly with the brain, stress has a lot of effects, and you can see them there circled. Typically, the student will fight, flight, or freeze as a reaction.
Yeah, that might happen with a lot of students.
Typically, what you find with these students is boredom. That's not a good thing to have, as you can see in the picture there. Boredom and frustration are frequent intruders on the brain's function in today's classroom.
So these gifted students might be identified as someone who doesn't know what they're doing because they're bored.
Exactly, Roy. And oftentimes we have behaviors that come out and they're misidentified. These students are already exerting so much effort every day just to overcome their own challenges that it's mistakenly seen as a behavior problem.
So you have any solutions?
Well, these behavior problems attribute to laziness, willfulness, learning disabilities, or attention disorders. We find they often go down as the behavior problems go down.
Okay, let's talk about another article.
Second article is Twice Exceptional Dilemma by NEA. You can read the first quote there by Brody and Mills in 1997. Now what you need to know is this disability may deflate both achievement and standardized test performance. We know how those are very important to us as teachers today.
So does every school have twice exceptional students?
Absolutely, Roy. Every school has twice exceptional students that are walking the halls in our classroom and in our classrooms.
And many of them may be misidentified.
Absolutely.
What are some things we need to know?
Well, first of all, we need to realize that giftedness masks disability. However, disability can also mask giftedness.
So they could be mislabeled a couple of different ways.
And
so you have a couple of things checked under identification.
That's what I just read.
Oh, what you just read? Well, you're getting ahead of me there. Oh, that's all right. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, there are several types of 2E students, and I'll let you look at those, but many of these we we see and we're comfortable with seeing and identifying, and some we don't. See kids with physical disabilities, sensory, Asperger, emotional, behavioral, ADD, ADHD, and learning disabilities.
So when people think of gifted students, they don't typically think of ADHD or Asperger's syndrome.
No, when you think of a gifted student, maybe you think of a student that's, well, close to perfect. And that's not the case.
So what do you do in your classroom?
There's several things we can do to make our students successful in our classrooms. I'll let you read amongst those, but the important ones that I see is addressing the social and emotional issues that these kids are going through each day. That's going to help to address their behavior. In the end, if you're still struggling with these students, you could always incorporate or include a school counselor or school psychologist.
What's this Bridges Academy place?
Bridges Academy is nationally known as one of the leading institutions in dealing with 2E students. And they have been modeled throughout the country in other schools.
So what are some things they do?
What they believe in, their common core beliefs are the classes need to be small. Instruction needs to be differentiated. You also need peers that offer up intellectual, social, and emotional support.
So even though we can't send our students to this academy, we can learn from their beliefs so they can thrive in our own schools.
That's exactly right. It's modeling what they're using, and they've been highly successful. So again, more beliefs, we see that the staff themselves need to be intelligent, they need to be patient. Well, that's a struggle sometimes.
Oh, tell me about it.
Need to be able to show respect to our kids. Need to perceive that they're talented. We need to understand and accept their unique capabilities.
So it's more about what they can do rather than what they can't do.
That's exactly right, Roy. Finally, we need to have the communities and teachers and parents to collaborate and work together. Let the kid, the student, become the principal architect of their own life.
I think that's a good thing.
It is.
As a review, here are some strengths of this model. It's highly motivated and often has a real-world purpose. It may be an impetus for student learning self-regulating skills. Research shows dramatic academic growth with this model. Now, some of the weaknesses that we really haven't talked much about. It does require whole school cooperation, which means it can be difficult to implement, and the training might be expensive. In order to do this, you have to have the training. You also have to have school flexibility to accommodate many needs and many talents. And you need to be prepared to offer enrichment opportunities for all those talents. Now, let's say your school hasn't bought in, or they're in the process of buying into this talent-centered model for twice exceptional students. You may take following practical applications from it. Now, these are ones we've been over. Number one, the mindset of looking for student strengths and accentuating them, not dwelling so much on their weaknesses from disabilities. Number two, creating a more non-traditional teaching opportunities such as pair share, interest grouping, interest centers, and office space. Three, encouraging and or sponsoring summer talent camps, competitions, or contests in talent areas, mentorships, and special clubs to benefit the twice exceptional student. Finally, here is an assessment for you, but instead of writing the answers in sentence form, I want you to draw them in a depiction similar to the artwork we studied, and we have a copy of it down below. Go ahead and read these sentences, and we would like your feedback about the content or the presentation of this video. Please include that on the YouTube scroll. Thank you very much. Go ahead and pause so you can do your drawing.